This is my jacket. I love it. It's blue, it's cotton, it's not too hot, it's not too cold. It has 3 big pockets that fit my notebook and all my stuff that I might want. But it has a number of problems. The first is that it's vintage. Because it's some unknown amount of years old, I actually don't know. I got it from a thrift store in Amsterdam, and it has the name of an Italian manufacturer that I can't find any information on in the tag. It's coming apart. And as it's come apart, I have repaired it with gold thread in the thread of the, the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery called kintsugi. There's a really good Nerdwriter video on it, which you can see wherever links pop up. But today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to add an additional pocket to the inside, because I can sew, and I do sew, and I'm frequently adding things to this jacket, and every time that I add something to it or repair a line that was already made, I ask myself, who the creator of this object is, because I create it as I go. Is it, some anonymous Italian worker, right? Is it me because I repair it and create as I go? These aren't questions I have any answers to, but they are sort of interesting philosophical discussions I think that it's important to have with oneself about the objects that you keep in your life. Every part of this is intentional, even though it may not initially appear so. Except for how amateurish the stitching is, that's because I'm not really that great at sewing, but it is something that I take great pride in. The stitching, in its amateurish way, draws attention to the act of repair, as does the color, yellow or gold, which of course references the traditional Japanese ceramic practice, where they would repair broken pottery with, gold mixed with, adhesive, and you put it back together, and it becomes even more valuable through the act of repair. You take something that's broken, and instead of discarding it or trying to repair it in a way that hides what makes it what it is, and instead you repair it in a way that highlights this change and accepts its history, you end up with something more beautiful than what you started with. You end up with something that has a history that it values and is a better, more perfect object. And that's a philosophy that I try and bring into my life in whatever small way. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to sew a pocket on, so I thought I'd use that as an opportunity to make a little video, right? I've never done this before, so be sure to tell me in the comments how I'm messing it up terribly. I got this fabric at the store and I washed it twice, so all the edges are kind of rough. But I don't really need as much as I got, because I really just need one pocket, right? I iron it all out flat. You know what? Ironing shouldn't be my first step. My first step should be making a model. We'll return to this in a moment. I get some note paper and a measuring stick. Now all these measurements are fairly inexact, even though they are more exact than if I was going to be using the far inferior and mind-bendingly annoying and should be dissolved imperial system. I have a lot of thoughts about the imperial system. You should not teach it in schools. That's not what this video is about. This is just an idea, right? I'm going to measure this out on a piece of paper. It doesn't actually matter how close my instructions are, I think, because I have a ton of fabric, I can do it again, and 2, I'm not going to be mass producing these. Now, what I need to do also is, because they all have a seam, I need to extend it beyond the edge of what I have. So I'm going to add another centimeter, I think, to fold. Okay. So really, we just need a square of 16 by 18.5. That is not difficult. This piece of paper is too small. I'm so easily distracted. I have a problem focusing. And I could just fold them under like that. That is not a bad idea. Yeah, maybe take a little bit less. Rough and tumble, 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 3.5. Wow. All right. Anyway, this piece of paper is roughly how our pocket will look. Now, the idea, always put the cap back on your X-Acto knife, they are very sharp, is that this pocket will go on this side, on the inside, here-ish. Put it at an angle like this. Gonna be basically like that. Actually, I think I might put it kind of overlapped like this. Let's see here, maybe? Yeah, just underneath the top pocket. I'm just feeling it out. Nothing is perfect, everything fades. Okay, I'm so excited. This iron was definitely ready a long time ago, and then I forgot about it, and then I turned it off, and then I turned it back on, so it's not hot at all. Now, we're just gonna close in on the shape a little bit. I have this. I know I'm not using the right scissors. The corners are one part here where I'm not exactly sure how to do it, but I refuse to look things up. That's not true. I'll look something up. I feel like I can figure it out, though. I feel like I'm pretty close. I did eventually figure it out. This is the finished one-to-one model of my pocket. I decided to make it out of paper so that I could figure out any problems or inconsistencies before I got to the actual cloth cutting stage. Now, one thing I really wanted to do to make this look nice and crisp is to have this clean edge all the way around, achieved by giving myself a margin and ironing it over, and then you get that nice clean edge, right? But the problem that I ran into was with this bottom corner. I wanted to give it that classic patch pocket look, right? Like just like the front of my jacket, but on the inside. And to do that, I needed to have a margin going all the way around that I could then fold over. The problem was this angle, right? The solution I eventually decided on was to cut out a square piece of fabric like this, trim the corners, giving myself a bit of a start, because I could just fold it all in, but I found that that had way too much fabric in the pocket and it got too hard to work with. So cut off the corners, go around, fold over my margins all over. Right? And now there's a margin on the bottom here and a margin on the edges. So when you fold it over, right, you have something to fold in. It's actually quite simple, but it took me too long to get there. Just trimming the corners on the bottom and then just folding it all up like I was going to. What I've done here is I've cut this piece of fabric down to the extruded pattern, which is to say the first larger pattern, before I fold in my edges here, right, like I'm going to in real life. Fold all this over, and this is what it's going to look like from the front. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline here with the chalk to give me my fold lines, roughly. It is just chalk. As anyone who's ever used chalk knows, chalk comes out of clothing. Hopefully. Measured out, cut off these edges so there's not so much fabric banging around in there. Now, I'm going to actually fold these over on these lines, and I'm going to find out that fabric does not fold very well. And so, what I'm going to do next is iron it some more. Cool. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. Shouldn't have spoken so soon. This is kind of annoying. Okay. A little bit of adjustment. Nothing is perfect and everything dies. That does not look too bad. First, that is really close, actually. Jeez Louise. Okay. Cool. Okay, so now we have this beautiful little square, which is a close enough approximation. But what I'm worried about is it coming apart. I have this seam, this edge here, but some places, especially right here, it's a little bit too close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew in yellow just around here to keep it all down, and then when I attach it to the jacket, I'll use black, because the rest of the jacket's things are in black. However, that's not going to be super interesting to look at, so I'm going to speed it up. All right, so now, whoa, we don't have a light. That's for sure. All right, now we have one stable patch pocket ready to be, that light is so blue, ready to be integrated into this system. However, it's also almost 7 o'clock. It took me way longer to do this than I thought I was going to, considering I'm just sewing in a little circle on a totally free piece of fabric. It's going to take me probably 4 times as long to sew it into a jacket. Let's clean some of this up a little bit. So if we look here, my idea was that I would put it roughly so that the top was just overlapping with the bottom of this other pocket. Something like that, right? So we'll take some of these. I'm really cooking. Okay, there we go. There. That's basically where I want it to be. So let's put my test object in there. Probably won't hold very well. And we'll see how we feel about it. Still too dark. I'm feeling like this position might be a little bit low. While it's good here, put it in like this. Might be a little bit saggy, a little bit low. So, and also you can sort of tell where my notebook is. It kind of sticks out, a little bit obvious. Now that is a problem because this is a single layer cotton jacket without a lining. With sports coats and whatever, they hide the pocket inside of the lining, but what I'm doing is essentially attaching a patch pocket to the inside. I think I'll make it higher. Maybe adjust the lighting a little bit, like a spotlight, right? You can spot it. Right? Like this. And that is better. That's significantly better. It doesn't seem to bulge as much, and where it does bulge is more natural. That's what I'm doing. However, for this to really work, I'm going to have to find a sewing machine. Which means that I'm letting this rest for tonight and coming back to it in the morning. Title card! Yeah, because I can't push a needle through 4 layers of fabric. That would kill me. But you know what? Let's try it. Right? Let's do a little test thing. I've got this, you know? Could I do it? It's not really that bad. If I do it with black, people won't be able to see. Oh my god, I can do this. I don't need to find a machine. Freaking twist, man. Okay, black. I'm gonna do this. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. Because I'm doing it myself. If I mess it up, I mean, I can just take it all apart and start over, right? So I'm going to just sew it, right? I'm just gonna do it. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Also so hungry. Let's start with, can't see this at all. Okay, this is the weird lighting we're working with because I am exhausted, but I think successful. This is my notebook, my test object. Just slip it right in there. Perfect. Earlier I was talking about, and the battery's dying, so I have a highly limited amount of time. Earlier I was talking about who makes this jacket. Certainly some anonymous Italian tailor or seamstress at some point in the distant past made this blue work jacket. But I would say that today, I make this jacket. This jacket is mine. Well, I am just pleased as punch. I'm just so happy. Put pen in this pocket here.